Welcome to Interactive Concept 6 Pasta Rocket by Lauren Arndt for Chem 125. Today's September 4th, 2021. So I gathered my materials as seen here. I have some matches to make a flame. I have some yeast, my hydrogen peroxide, my tube-shaped rigatoni pasta, and a water bottle. I know the experiment called for a mason jar. I could not find any at my store, and I didn't have a drill that would be able to get through the lid, so I used a water bottle, and then I cut the top of the water bottle, not shown here, to make a shape spot for the rigatoni in the cap. Got my hydrogen peroxide and I poured it in my water bottle. I dumped my yeast in there really quick and I quickly snapped this photo. I was unable to get the cap on the water bottle and it just completely exploded on me all over everywhere in the sink. And I did not have another water bottle, but that is as far as I got in the experiment. It didn't really work for me. It completely exploded. But what should have happened is as soon as I got the lid on, I would light my pasta on fire and I would get this kind of uncontrollable flame fuel source. What happened? So I cut the hole to make the pasta in the bottle cap, filled with hydrogen peroxide, set up the bottle with the hydrogen peroxide in it. I add the yeast to it and it immediately fizzes up and explodes as I was trying to get it over the sink. I was unable to get the cap on to continue the rest of my experiment, and I didn't have any more water bottles. So what was supposed to happen is get the cap on with everything in it still, light the pasta on fire, and then I was supposed to get the charring and burning of the pasta to make that fuel source, for my rocket. But it exploded on me. So why did this happen? So first, the carbohydrate pasta acts as the fuel for the rocket. The pasta is tube-shaped, the rigatoni shape. This allows for the oxygen to act as the oxidizer. This creates a combustible energy / fuel source when it is lighted on fire. The oxygen comes from the hydrogen peroxide, and when the hydrogen peroxide is added with the yeast in the bottle, where this is the part where my experiment exploded, it comes into contact and it liberates with the oxygen. This creates an enzyme that catalyzes the production of oxygen, and this causes the uncontrollable burning of the pasta. And watching this, I watched several other videos on YouTube of other people doing it just to get a better idea of what could have happened with mine. It did very much resemble when a rocket takes off to space, which I thought was pretty cool. So, applications to class, what could have been better? So here I have the chemical formula for the experiment that I found online, which is relevant to class and everything we've been doing with those. I could have more quickly been able to pop the cap on the bottle. I think that was my biggest mistake. I just took way too much time trying to get it over to the sink, and I just didn't realize it was gonna bubble up as much like that when I added the yeast to the hydrogen peroxide. And using a mason jar rather than a water bottle just would have had a better seal. It would have been easier to get on. My fingers would have been easier to grab it and twist it on. It just wouldn't have been this whole mess. Can pasta be used as a sustainable source in real life? This is something I've thought about after doing this experiment, is can we use wheat to make a fuel source? Is that possible for real life vehicles? It's just an interesting thought. If we could do it with this, can we do it with anything? Or is it too basic? Is this basic understanding of combustion engines and cars and vehicles. Like, is this the basic premise of it? I think so, but I know it's way more complicated than that, or else I would be a engineer. Thank you for listening to my presentation.